Hello everyone, welcome to Ask Susan Live, your place to come in and ask your questions for whatever's popping for you. And the theme that's popping for us this month on Congruent Living is momentum. How do we create with momentum? What's stopping our momentum? And the awareness that I had recently talking with my clients is that it's all about surrendering into the moment. You see, when you resist something, you're creating a resistance. You're creating an energetic field that matches that energy of resistance. When you surrender into something, it's not about giving up. It's more about, instead of buying into what it is that you're refusing to negotiate with, what you've decided is not who you are. Hey, Alia, welcome. You actually stop the momentum of what it is that you're asking to create with. And we are asking to create all the time. That's who we are as creatives and seekers. And here's the deal. If you're willing to surrender into your creation, if you're willing to surrender, and when I say surrender, I mean ease in to the expansions of what it is that you're asking to create with, who it is you're asking to create with, and surrender into that energy, you'll find that you actually expand way beyond what it is you've decided isn't working for you, what it is you've decided you can't do or you can't be, right? So I'm asking you to actually, your home play for this week is to actually surrender into what it is that you're asking to create with. Be with it. Take some time with it. Right? Now, we all have different ways of doing that. Some people meditate, some people go for a walk, some people ski down a mountain, some people bake bread. Whatever that sweet spot is for you, where you are truly, truly, truly you, right? With no judgments, with no objections. Be with what it is that you're asking to create. And ask energy information from there. Hey, Deborah, welcome, welcome. If you're coming on in, and you are coming on in, we have an international community. Tell us where you're from. Pardon me. Oh, I left my water in the other room. Tell us where you're from, and if this rings for you, if this sings for you, tag your friends who are already in Congruent Living. We've got over 2,000 members. How did we get so lucky, right? Of creatives, of seekers, of people asking for more. So, if you're willing to take an aerial view, and by that I mean expand out, take an aerial view of what you're creating and how you're creating. And then ask yourself, is there anywhere here that I'm resisting what I'm asking for? Could be a relationship you're asking to create. It could be a song you're asking to write. It could be a body you're asking to play with. It could be anything. Right? Take an aerial view and ask, is there anything here that I've been asking for that I'm actually resisting? Now, we're really clever, so we have all different ways of resisting. We go back into those old behaviors that say, come on over here, come on over here. You don't really like to do that. Or, you know, that's not going to create anything greater. So that's where you want to ask yourself, when you bump up against something, what is this? Not who is this? Not what is it? What is this? Because when we're willing to ask, what is this? It puts us in the now moment. Not the story. Not what we are hoping to do. It puts us right here. So for myself, I've been playing with this all week. Whenever I bump up against something, and I feel that resistance in me. It could be an excuse I'm making. It could be a distraction I'm creating. It could be that I've just decided something. Right? Well, as infinite beings, we want to live in choice, not decision. Because in choice, we actually surrender into what else is possible. Again, when we're willing to expand out and just take an aerial view of everything we're creating and ask, is there anything here that I'm resisting? When you get that information, now you have choice. It's not about busting through it. And it's not about giving up. A lot of people think that's what surrender is. It's not about giving up. It's about when you're willing to surrender all resistance, let go of all resistance, the information will come in of what you're asking to play with and who you're asking to play with. And that, my friends, is where the gold is, right? Information, being in the question, surrendering to that information. When we surrender to the information, we're scientists in our own lives. We're able to look at the facts, look at the data, get a sense of what we're asking for, get a sense of, is this working, is this not working? And again, it's not how can I make it work for me, to get the energy of make it work. You want to surrender into it. Because when we surrender into something, we're actually giving birth to something more, to something greater. How many of us are feeling really uncomfortable in between the last eclipse and this eclipse today, in the new moon coming up tomorrow? There's so much going on energetically that if we try to hold on to anything, we're in resistance. Deborah says, congratulations on your 43rd. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Deborah's referring to, I've been with Ricky for 43 years in what we call marriage in this reality. And that, if nothing else, has taught me so much about surrendering to what I'm aware of without having to make it significant. Right? Great. Thank you so much for that, Deborah, for that awareness, who's ever asking for this information. Right? It's about surrender. When you're in a relationship, it's about surrendering into what this is. What is this? What's working here? What's not working here? Again, if you're willing to let your ego at the door and to just be present in the now moment of whatever it is that you're bumping up against right now, and then surrender to it. Again, surrendering has nothing to do with giving in, quitting, any of that. It's about expanding out and taking you with that expansion. Now, as this is not a dialogue or a monologue, it's a conversation. If anyone has any questions, any aha moments, now come on in with them. And if later, hashtag replay and come on in with your questions. I check every time. Surrendering is something that no one actually tells you about when you're very little. You're told to fight for the rightness of your point of view. You're told to resist, to react, to explain. I was talking with a client today, and we laughed at how much we're taught to prove to someone that we're right, and how much we're taught to look for proof and validation. I mean, it starts right at the beginning. When you go to school, you get a mark on your report card as proof, right? That you're following someone else's line of how you should be acting, who you should be acting, and where you should be acting. Alia, surrounding in relationships with adult child. Sorry, that was Alanka. Surrounding in Alanka, could you expand on that? I'm not really sure what that's all about. Alia, I really needed to hear this today. Thank you so much. Oh, you're so welcome, Alia. Thank you so much. Alanka, aha moment surrounding in relationship with adult child. Yeah, everything is, right? So if you've surrounded yourself in a relationship with an adult who's acting as if they are a child, you might ask yourself, what were you asking for that this showed up? When who Ricky was is who he is now. That's who I met when we met all those years ago in a bar, right? He was somebody who loved adventure. He was somebody who surrendered into no significance, no judgment, who actually had a sense of who he was, right? And that's what attracted me to him. That's who he is now. So if any of you, like Alanka, have surrounded yourself with adults who are actually asking to be treated as children. Alanka says, thank you, bingo. You might ask yourself, what were you asking for that they showed up? How many of us have been taught that our significance is based on taking care of somebody else? Well, when you take care of an adult person as if they're a child, you are actually making them into a child. And you, again, what are you asking for? That this showed up, right? It's not to judge yourself. It's not to judge them. If you want to change something, you actually have to be aware of what this is. And that's why I keep stressing today, not what is it, what is this? In this now moment, what is this? What can I do with it? Can I change it? If yes, how? What's required here? What's required here in this moment? Now, here's the thing about surrendering. If you're willing to play with these tools, and I hope you are, please let me know how this works for you over the week. If you're willing to play with these tools, there are no stories. Right? In this now moment, what is this? When we bring those stories into who we be, what we be, and how we be, we've actually given up on being present in this moment. We've given up on having awareness, and we've given up on creating with momentum. So the momentum forward is now momentum backward into your past, into where you're right, into where they're wrong, into your stories, right? Yeah. Let me know if I'm in the right zone here. Some hearts or thumbs up. This is a tricky one. Again, I've been playing with my clients with these all week, and each one of them, oh, thank you so much, yay. Each one has had that aha moment of actually playing with this tool of, oh, so what would this be like if I surrendered into this? And the thing, you know, that I always talk about is if you have a habit of buying into your stories and buying somebody else's stories and going on that wheel of this always happens to me, it's just a habit. That's all it is. It's how you were created in the life and living and family that you grew up in. Now, do you require that anymore? That's the question to ask. Right? What is this in this now moment? And I'm willing to surrender all my points of views, all my judgments, because you're not surrendering to someone else. You're surrendering to you, to that infinite being who came here to make a difference. Yeah. So, as I don't see any questions, thank you, Alanka. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Alia, for coming on. I so appreciate you all. I know it's a different time zone for everyone. I wonder what this can create for people who are going to come in later. And again, you know, I always come in and check everything that you've been asking, and I'm here for you. That's what Congruent Living is all about. It's about creating that space in which we actually have a congruent way of being with everything, right? There's no big bumps in the road. It's more just growth, 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 and growth. And if you're looking for that, if you're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, I really need this, please reach out to me, right? There's no reason for you to sit all alone in your own bubble with things that aren't working out for you. Yeah. Alanka, I guess what I'm getting with surrounding in this is not effort. It's surrendering. I guess what I'm getting with surrounding in this is not effort or expect them to act as I would like to or show love in action. Just let them surround. Okay. It's about surrendering, not surrounding. Is there a word like surrounding? Thanks, Alanka. Surrendering, it means to just let go of everywhere you are in resistance to you, right? Because that's the bottom line. You create your reality. It's your sandbox you're playing in. You create your reality. You invite people into play or not, right? If you find you're bumping up against something, I'm asking you to expand out and surrender all your points of views about who you are, what you are, how you are. Because it's really all about you. It's not about them. Alanka, let me know if I'm in the right plane for you. And yes, you can surround somebody. You're surrounding you. You're not surrounding someone else. So again, you can create a space for people to come into, should they choose. But it's not really surrounding anybody. It's surrendering. Yay, I got a thumbs up on that. Alia, aha. I wanted to share my love with others always attracted who needed love. Yeah. Now consciously choosing differently. Yay, now I'm asking to share and receive more love. Absolutely. And the more, Alanka says, am I misspelled? I love you. Thank you, Alanka. Yeah. Yes, that's the deal, Alia. Thank you so much. Is if you're willing to surrender to you, right? You're willing to actually be present with your brilliance. And once you step into that vibration, vibration attracts, vibration attracts. Right? The more you're willing to fall in love with you, the more you're willing to be out of resistance, out of reaction, out of shame, out of guilt, out of any of those distractions that keep you from being you, you surrender into the brilliance of yourself. I wonder what that could create. Alanka, no, I misspelled it. I know exactly what you're saying. Thank you, Alanka. Deborah, thank you, because resistance comes up. Yeah, we were raised to be resistant, Deborah. Right? Come on, don't you want to fight for what you want? You got to fight for what you want. You can't just be quiet. What are you, a milquetoast? I mean, how many of those expressions were we raised with from the age of 0 to 7? Right? And that's that sweet spot where the subconscious digs right in, where, the Jesuits always say, give me a child from 0 to 7 and I'll have that child for the rest of my life. Whatever you were trained with, implemented with, what belief systems you bought into from 0 to 7, dollars to donuts, it had to do with resistance. Right? And the other thing too is, Deborah, I love that you said that, because how many of us were so aware as children, and we were told what to do, what to say. We were told, oh, that can't be true, what you're saying, or how could you possibly know that? Where did you hear that from? All of that. And what that does is that shows you, oh, the way to be with knowledge, the way to be with awareness is resistance. Right? Does that make sense, Deborah? Yeah. And so once we start catching that, as adults, as here we are in the now moment, none of that is relevant. It's like, oh, what is this in this now moment? What is this? What is this? Can I change it? What energies are required here? I was by myself mostly as a child. Deborah said, terrific. Sit with yourself. Sit with this question, right? How much is a child influenced by everything else around them? Very few of us were raised with total loving peers, parents, teachers, who were in total loving allowance of who we were and how we were growing. And, we were given subtle judgments all the way through. Whether it's on the television, whether it's in the grocery store, whatever that is for you. It's about not diving in and going like, oh, look, but I was this and I was that. It's more like, so truth, what is this now? In this now moment, is there anything that I'm bumping up against that's holding me back from being me? And it's just that awareness of like, oh, is that a habit I create? Oh, okay, time to change that. I'm going to surrender that habit and create something totally different. Deborah says, actually, I think it was good because I was more jolly then and creative. So tap in, right? What is it you're asking for? Are you willing to surrender any point of view you have about who you be right now and tap into those juicy, joyous, jolly, creative juices? I wonder what that would look like. I find for myself, I surrender into my morning and I create with those juicy, joyous, creative juices. And so that's how I begin my day. Those of you who worked with me, I'm a big proponent of how do you start your day, right? Are you willing to surrender into what the universe has planned and is creating with you today? I wonder what that could create. What energy, space, and consciousness can my body and I be to be totally present with what the universe has in store for me? I wonder what that could create. All right, my friends, if I don't see any more comments, I will love you and leave you. And again, spread the news. Ask Susan's going live every Thursday right here. And I'll catch you somewhere on the planet. If you're Oh, Deborah says thank you. Thank you, Deborah. If you're looking to dive deeper again, please, please, please don't sit there alone in your bubble. Reach out to me. Let's see what we can create together. This is kind of where I play, right? That's what congruent living laser coaching is all about. It's about being totally present with you and lasering in so we can actually assist you in creating the life and living that you're asking for, that you know is possible. Alanka, a question. When people are choosing to be rude, do we surrender or should we be aware and give them awareness too? Okay, first of all, you can't make anybody anything. Thank you. That's a great question, Alanka. You can't make anybody anything. So if somebody is rude, that's a point of view. It has nothing to do with me. Somebody's rude to me, quote unquote, it has nothing to do with me. It's theirs. It's like I expand way out and I actually say, oh, thank you for letting me know who you truly be. I don't have to say that out loud. That's what I'm thinking about. I'm like, oh, wow, I just saw you with your pants down. If you're rude to me, I just saw you with your pants down. I know what you look like. I know where you're coming from, and thank you. Bye-bye. You can't change anyone. What you can do is surrender into the moment. If you're surrendering into the moment, there's no resistance, there's no reaction, there's no bam response. It's like, I'm going to teach you about being rude and I'm going to change your world. No, thank you. I'm going to expand out, right? Expand out. So truth, Alanka, Alanka says, yes, we can't make anyone do anything, but we don't have to be a doormat. Okay, I love you. Thank you so much. Surrendering is not being a doormat, right? Surrendering is releasing all resistance and reaction so that what is required is totally present in this now moment. What is it that someone's asking to hear? What is it that would work for you? Maybe you love to fight. Maybe that's fight or flight, right? What if there was no such thing as rude? What if it was something that just doesn't work for you, right? Again, if you decide something is rude, where are you in all that? It's just their point of view. 10 seconds. 10 seconds. What are you making significant about someone else's point of view? If it doesn't work for you, you say, hey, thanks so much, that actually doesn't work for me. With a big smile on your face. That's surrendering into the moment. Surrendering into the moment, you know, if this house was on fire right now, I'd surrender into the moment and get the hell out of here. And it's about being in the now moment. It's about being in the now moment. I love no pants picture, Alanka says, yeah. Alanka, that's what I mean, surrender on the, point it out to them. You don't have to be rude. It's up to you. Hey, I'm not interested in fighting. I'm not interested in teaching people about how they're rude or not rude. That's my point of view that they're rude. Do you understand where you're going? You're going down a big rabbit hole right now, right? If your point of view is that you came here to change people's worlds, all of those rude people, I'm going to find you, right? How many people do you think are actually, quote unquote, rude to me? It's just not in my universe. Someone came up to me in the I'll give you a perfect example, Alanka. Somebody came up to me the other day where I get my groceries, cars go in and cars go out. And my car was going out, I filled it up with my grocery bags. And this woman who I know from a long time ago, she stopped her car and she leans over to me and says, you don't need to have a big car like that. You should get a car like me. And she started to do the bang, bang. And I just looked at her with a big smile on my face and I said, I love you. I just love you. And she looked at me and just, and drove on. Now that was fun for me, right? That's fun for me. It's my world, baby. I'm going to have fun in my world. Do I have to buy her point of view as true and real? No. If I surrender to the moment without resistance and without reaction, I could have said, hey, up you, right? But it was like, so what's required right now that would actually bring me joy? Because it's my world you're entering. You enter my world, baby, you better be ready for it. So I was not, nobody walked over me. I didn't give myself up. I actually had really great fun playing with her and left her totally stupefied by how I would just have this beaming smile, full of love. I hadn't seen her in like 20 years since I used to work out at the Y. And I was just like, hey, I love you. And she just, oh, this is your life to enjoy to the max, right? Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Surrender to it. Every moment is different. Yeah. Alonka says, thank you, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Alonka. That's awesome, awesome. Did everybody get a lot out of that question? You know, how many people here have decided that surrendering is being milquetoast or being a mat to be walked over? It's not. Surrendering into the moment is like, all right, I'll have the download now, please. I'm an empty vessel. I'll have the download now, please. And that's your home play. What is this? Huh. What is this? Can I play with it? Can I create with it? Can I have fun with it? Drive on. In more ways than one. Yay. Cool. Longa says, I'm sure cute. I'm cute, but not that bright sometimes. I love it. All right, my darlings. Thank you so much. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for popping in. I will love you and leave you. Live boldly, love greatly, and be that fearless, fearless, fearless leader that you came here to be, because the world needs more of you and not less. Yeah. Very helpful for these awarenesses, Deborah said. Thank you so much. Thanks for your questions. Thanks for popping in. I really appreciate you. Mwah. Bye-bye. Thanks for all the hearts. Thank you, thank you.